My favorite way to make steak fajitas, and I'm gonna show you how. Have you ever gone to the restaurant and you got steak fajitas and your steak is chewy? Ugh, I'm not a fan. You will never have that problem with this recipe. So stay tuned because I'm gonna give you all my tips and tricks for the best tender steak fajitas, and we're gonna use our crock pot. Hi, I'm Carrie with eatingonadime.com, and you're gonna love today's recipe. Now you can grab the full recipe linked in the description below, or you can always go to Google and just type in eating on a dime crockpot steak fajitas and it will pull right up for you. Now, before we get started, I wanna remind you, we've been doing crockpot recipes all month long to celebrate Crocktober because we have a brand new Crocktober digital cookbook for you, and it's at a huge discount linked in the description below as well. So make sure you grab that because we give you 31 crockpot recipes that your entire family is gonna love. Now, before we get started on this recipe, I wanted to let you know that the one thing that I love about steak fajitas in the crockpot is that you don't have to use a fancy, expensive steak. So when you're grilling steak fajitas or making them in the oven or over here on your skillet, sometimes you're gonna have to use like a flank steak or a skirt steak, and that can be pretty expensive. Today we're using a round steak, which tends to be more inexpensive because the crockpot is gonna make this super, super tender. So we're gonna start off with about 2 pounds of round steak. Looks just like this, whatever you can find at your grocery store. Now you can use a more expensive meat if you want to. You do you, but you don't have to. Then we're going to cut across the grain in slices. So what that means is when you see your steak, you will see a grain in it, and most people will want to go this way, but you actually want to go the long way on your steak. And that's going to happen is when you do that, you will see, oh, let me cut all the way through. You will see that your steak, you can see the little lines in it, and what that does is create a super tender piece of steak. If you cut this way, you're going to get a really rough steak. So I wanted to show you that you can see the grain here. So if you cut with the grain, you're going to get a really tough piece of steak, but if you cut it against the grain, which is the opposite side, so the long side, you'll get this nice, and this is going to be super juicy and tender. Now, as you can see, these are pretty long pieces for fajitas, and so I'm just going to cut the longer pieces in half so they're more easier to eat, and put them on your actual fajitas. I've got all the steak cut up, and so now we're going to place it in a slow cooker. Today I'm using a 6-quart slow cooker, and I'm using the Beautiful brand that I got from Walmart. We do have that linked. We also have linked our best slow cookers post, and that gives you what I believe to be the best slow cookers. But any crock pot will work for this. Your old one, the one you got at the thrift store, the one for your grandma, will work great. And so we're just placing that steak just at the bottom of the crock pot. Next, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning. You can use like a packet, or if you go to Eating on a Dime, you can just search taco seasoning, and we have a delicious homemade recipe. Then we're going to add 2 cups of salsa. Any kind of salsa will work. I'm using picante sauce because I just tend to use that because it's inexpensive. But any kind of salsa that you like would work great. I've done this with salsa verde, and it's delicious as well. Okay, now we're gonna cover it, and we're gonna cook this on low for 6 to 8 hours or high for 3 to 4 hours. And I know what you're thinking, Carrie, you forgot the bell peppers and onions. Of course, fajitas have to have bell peppers and onions. And you're right, I'm not putting them in right now. I like to wait and place them in the last 30 minutes to an hour of cooking time. And the reason I do that is because the fajitas, like the bell peppers, will be crispier. But you could add them right now, but they're gonna be really, really soft and like almost they'll just fall apart. So if you like the crispy onions and the crispy bell peppers like I do, just wait until 30 minutes to add them. Okay, now I'm wanting to eat in about an hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in my bell peppers and my onions. Now you're just gonna wanna slice these. So I have a red and a green bell pepper and a white onion, but any bell pepper, any colors will work. And same with cut those seeds off. And same with the onion. It can be a yellow onion, a red onion, or a white onion. I actually love a red onion in this. but you do you. That's the fun thing. Now I like to slice them a little bit thicker than what you probably would see at like a Mexican restaurant, just because they're in the crock pot and it'll just take a little bit longer for them to cook. Let me get this last one done. Okay, off to the crock pot you go. Ooh, do you see all that steam? It smells so good too. And then we're gonna do the green bell pepper. So I'm finishing up that green bell pepper, and then off to the crock pot it goes. And the last thing we gotta do is throw in the onion. Now, when you're slicing an onion, what I like to do is cut the ends off, cut it in half, fold it down. I gotta get that peels off. Get out of here, peel. And then you can slice it this way or this way. Either way works. I'm gonna do the rings because I just think they're fun. But you can do it either which way. Now we're gonna add these onions to the pot. And I'm just gonna try to separate them while I add them. I mean, they'll cook faster that way. Oh my gosh, the flavor. I can just smell the flavor. I wish you could smell it, but if you make it at home, guess what? You can. It's so easy, guys. This is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer recipe that you're gonna have on repeat for taco night. We love having a taco night, Taco Tuesday, but we like to change them up, not just tacos. Sometimes it's fajitas, sometimes it's a taco casserole. Okay, now, ooh, those onions got me a little emotional. I'm just gonna do a quick toss just to kind of make sure everything's coated and get a little bit of that sauce mixture that's in here all over the bell peppers so they can get that flavor too. Once we're done with that, we're gonna add the lid, and I'll see you in about 30 minutes to an hour. I love a good pool with the smoke coming out of the crock pot. I'm a goober. These are delicious and ready to serve. That's how easy it is to make steak fajitas in the crock pot. No dry steak. It's super tender. I want lots of veggies, guys. Are you team veggies or team steak? My kids are team steak. I'm team veggies. Okay, a couple more onions and we're ready to go. That's how easy it is. There's really serve it with your favorite tortillas, any toppings you want. If you want to serve it with like homemade guacamole or salsa or queso, we have all of that for you on Eating on a Dime. So just go to eatingonadime.com and then use the search box and you can search guacamole. We have a delicious, easy homemade salsa that we have all the time. And then our amazing quesos. Our white queso is our #1 queso recipe that we have. But we have lots of good ones. So make sure you check that out. Okay, now it's time for the ultimate test. I already lost a pepper. That was really good. The steak is tender. It is not tough, even though, remember, we use a cheaper steak. And the bell peppers and onions still have a little bit of crunch to them. So for me, it's perfect. If you like today's recipe, make sure you like and subscribe and drop a comment below. We love hearing from you, and we don't want you to miss any more of our family-friendly recipes. Don't forget, we have our Crocktober cookbook on sale right now in the description below. You want to go snag it so you can get a copy for yourself, because it has 31 crockpot recipes that are just as easy and delicious as today's recipe. Okay, I am out of here, friends. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time in my kitchen. Bye, friends.